Prepare yourself to be blown away by the seismic sounds and scrutiny of Aftershocks Podcast with Chris Aiken and Matt Hartnett.
But here,
Sure.
Look who it is.
Okay, well, we've got him here.
There he is. Speak of the devil, Mr. Dave.
Hey,
What's going on, Dave? How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Doing great, man. Well, thanks for coming on. We appreciate you coming on a Tremors here to talk to us. And, I guess first off, congratulations on the new EP from Sons of Silver, appropriately titled Doomsday Noises. Yeah, man, it's getting a lot of buzz for a lot of good reasons. And obviously it's reasons because it's a real kick-ass record, man. So congratulations, man. How are you doing with the pandemic stuff going on right now?
Pretty good. We just started recording this week. So it's been nice. We did like 2 or 3 days last week. Then we're going in tomorrow and Friday. But yeah, up until that point, which is however many months, I had very little contact with anybody, just a little bit here and there. My son's visited a couple of times. He lives in Hollywood. So I'm outside the city about an hour. So, but yeah, it's been actually pretty good. I have 4 pets and, able to, I got drums all over the house and
Nice.
So you're set.
it's actually, I've been knocking wood. I've been very just grateful.
Very, very cool, man.
How are you guys?
We're doing good, man. We're just glad to have you on. Just obviously, we want to talk about some Sons of Silver here. Obviously, it's one thing me and Chris have been talking about. It's really sort of a sound that's been kind of abandoned for quite some time. I really love the musical direction on the EP, man. It's sort of that sound. It reminds me of a sound that was around like the late 70s, early 80s. It's just a straight up rock, strip. It's got some edgier tracks. Obviously, Read 'Em Their Rights. That's just a great song, man. That's obviously charting really well right now for you guys. And, I guess, just as a musician who's, you're most well known, obviously, for creating music that occurred, almost 30 years ago with Pearl Jam. It's got to feel real good, though, to be able now to have this current band to release where fans can really, hear and experience something new that you've done instead of just being referred to as a guy who played drums on an iconic album, almost 3 decades ago, huh?
Cool. Thanks. Yeah, I've been working the whole time, of course. I've been, playing in different bands, but yeah, this is the first time in a while where it's felt really fresh, and it's really like a band. Like we've put in a lot of work in the last 5 years, so it's really cool to see, fruits of our labor, people enjoying it.
Sure. Definitely. Yeah. Now, Dave, with Sons of Silver, obviously, as Matt was saying, you've played not only with Pearl Jam, but you've been in quite a few bands, obviously. And for Sons of Silver, it seems like, at least from what Peter was telling us, that you have taken a much bigger part in the creative process than maybe you've had with some of these other bands. Do you feel like that's the way it is for you? And does that feel most comfortable for you?
Yeah, it's really cool. And that kind of evolved naturally. We started off, he had songs and we went in and played and kind of did things that way. And he just gave us more and more freedom to interject our personalities into it, which is it's very rare. So it's gone from more of like a singer-songwriter, at least as far, not so much the music, it's, like acoustic stuff, but just as far as working wise, you know what I mean? And he put a lot of trust in us, but it's pretty cool because we toured so much, we've played so many shows and just, been hauling our gear in clubs and doing that and opening for some bands. And it's been really nice to have, because a lot of times, I've worked with bands for years, and no matter what, you go in the studio, there's a certain way of working. You know what I mean? It's very kind of just here's your part, or kind of do it like this. It's very more controlled environment. So it's really cool for all of us to be able to you know, slowly but surely kind of be able to add our own elements to it. And so then we just started. The last batch was very much, and like we're doing right now in the studio, a lot of like, somebody might have a riff or something, you know what I mean? Or something along that line. And we'll just really like hash it out, you know, and flesh the idea out and see what we can come up with. And we'll record. I mean, we've been the last few days that we did last week. I mean, we probably played for, hours, you know, 6, 7 hours. Like my hands are aching. Yeah. So it's been just very, very much a group effort. And I really credit him for that, because it's not common, you know?
Sure. Now, and I'm always curious about this with a band dynamic, and you know, and this might almost be more of a Peter question, but I'll ask you anyway. When you get into a band dynamic, it tends to lean itself to the guy that had the most success. A lot of times ends up being the leader, but it doesn't sound like that's the case with you guys at all. I mean, obviously,
yeah. I'm sorry. Keep going. My dogs are barking.
But you know, it just doesn't seem like that is the dynamic with you guys. You guys have had, you know, 3 of you guys have had pretty significant bands that you've been in, and yet from talking to Peter and now from talking to you, it sounds like it really is a democracy, you know, of sorts when you're creating music. Is that the way you would want it? And B, is it comfortable, especially for you who has had significant success, to kind of say, okay, well, you can go ahead and run your idea, even though I may not agree?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a double-edged sword. Like on one hand, it's, you know, sometimes it's kind of nice to just go in and go, okay, here's my part. This is what they want me to do. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go do that. I'm kind of off the hook as far as like any outcome, you know, how it's received or whatever. But no, I really like, you know, I played sports when I was a kid. I really thrive under pressure. So I like to, you know, I want to be up to bat and, like, you know what I mean? Try and have, you know, not like I don't think I'd ever be comfortable having total control, but I like being able to like get into it and try and come up with what, you know, is natural for me, and hopefully it fits. And I think that's the other good thing about this band, though. It's like we're doing that, but we're also totally cool with, like, if somebody's like, hey, that's not really working, you know what I mean? Can you try it this way or whatever? So, you know, but I prefer it definitely to be able to like interject as much as possible on my instrument, at least, you know?
Sure.
So your guys, Dave, what's your guys' sound? Like I was saying earlier, it has said all that 70s, you know, late 70s, sort of early 80s. At least to me, it does. And like you know, I'm just gonna take a song like "Read on the Rights" with the drums on that. I mean, it really reminds me of like a back to bass. It really reminds me like a Ringo Starr Beatles kind of drum kind of beat. Just kind of back to basics, good old rock and roll. Is that really? Did you guys deliberately want to create that kind of sound, or is that just something that just happened, you know, naturally and instinctively when you guys get together and you jam?
Excellent question, because actually it's something we have kind of talked about, not in a contrived way, but in a way that's like, you know, we're working on stuff and there's always that kind of fallback thing that you do. Like I could play this beat and try and when I'm talking about being able to interject like what I do artistically, the cool thing about this band is instead of doing the most I can do, or to try and like, well, look at this fill I can do, or check this thing out, or, you know what I mean? I've been doing the opposite, which has been way cooler and actually had more success as far as like melding with the song, is like, I'm going to just do it. I'm going to play the most simple thing I can. And just like, I don't want to do any fills. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to play a beat that makes this song go, you know what I mean? And support the vocal, you know what I mean? but just all about like make this song go and never, and hopefully not even do a fill, you know what I mean? Because it's like, and that's the other thing, like if the song is interesting, and we're all kind of doing this at the same time, because we're all doing that too, because it's like Kevin can play anything on the guitar. He's ridiculous guitar, it's amazing, and everybody's super talented, but everybody's just keeping this restraint that builds this tension, which is really cool. We kind of hit on it accidentally. We just kind of, from hours and hours of jamming, because they have their own studio. So there's not like the clock running in the usual sense. You know what I mean? It's like $1,500 a day or $2,000 a day or whatever. It's like they have an amazing studio, Pete and Brina. So we're able to just like go for hours. So yeah, we all kind of like use this like restraint to try and like get the song across. And Ringo Starr is a good analogy, because he's somebody that I think is probably the most underrated drummer on the planet.
I agree.
Really. So good. So yeah, we've been trying to like just, and it's building the tension, and and then it's like, oh shit, this is cool. You know what I mean? This is like, it's like so tense. And then you can kind of like let it go a little bit and like open it up with a fill, or somebody could do a guitar riff. And then it's much more special. You know what I mean? It's like a little cool little gem in this kind of static, deal going. So yeah,
sure, no, it's awesome, man. And although I know, obviously most people know who you are from your work, with Pearl Jam, years ago, which obviously, and being in that band and their history, I mean, it's more than most musicians could ever dream of, being part of something, historic and special like that. And you've also obviously played on great records, with Candlebox and Happy Pills, which is a great record. And you've been, involved with several, other projects over the years as well, with, not, sometimes maybe outside of the rock and hard rock realm, but you've obviously done a lot over your career. But at the same time, does it frustrate you a bit? I mean, being a Hall of Fame musician, a rock and roll Hall of Fame musician, has it ever bothered you that, you've had all this music for the last 30 years, yet all people can think of when they think of Dave Krusen is Pearl Jam 10?
No, I mean, I tell you, if I could pick a band and pick a record, it would be that band and that record. That's how much it was such a special time. And it was like, I really felt that back then. I had a lot of problems with drugs and alcohol and shit, but it really was like all the things I had done before that, you know what I mean? And then that happened. So yeah, for me, it's like, I'm just so proud of the work that we did and love it so much. It's like, we had it's like a family, and it's like, we had this child who made this record,
Yeah.
So I look at it as, it's really fortunate to have been involved in it, you know what I mean? So to me, it's cool. And, but if it was a band that I was like, had kind of like fallen out of love with, or wasn't super crazy about the work you know what I mean? Or like, I really would like to have done it this way, or, it was just a pain in the ass, or, that would be a lot different. But no, I just feel really lucky and stoked on it still.
Do you still feel that same connection? Like, are you still in touch with anybody in the band, or do you?
No, not really. I mean, I would see them occasionally, like somebody in Seattle when I've lived in Seattle for so long.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, occasionally I'll go to a show of theirs, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But we get along fine. It's just, I've been in California now for, almost 20 years, like 18 years or something.
Okay. Yeah.
Down here. So, but yeah, at the Hall of Fame, it was like, didn't miss it. It was just like picking up right where we left off.
Okay.
But way better because I was sober.
Right.
But,
Sure.
they treated me great, and the chemistry was right there. As soon as we started playing, it's kind of crazy because we hadn't played in, almost 30 years,
Sure.
We rehearsed in Seattle for a couple of days, and as soon as we started playing, it's like, so There's a cool chemistry for sure.
Sure. Now, David, this is kind of a dad question more than a music question, but you obviously have kids. I have no doubt in my mind that your kids have heard your music and not just you playing it. You know, I mean, everybody has heard Jeremy. Everybody has heard Even Flow. How, you know, I'm happy when I can take my kids and they can meet a rock guy that they enjoy. Being that rock guy, that's got to be on a whole different level, no?
Well, my kids are so cool. It's kind of, I mean, it's crazy. They got such great musical taste, you know, like they've like shown me some stuff that's like, oh, that's really cool. And they've grown up, like, you know, since I've been playing music the whole time they've been around. So I used to take them to shows, you know, and they're little tiny with the big cans on,
right,
protectors and whatnot. And to me, that was like the big thrill, like taking them to a show where they get to meet somebody. You know, you're just like, wow, this is exciting. You know what I mean? To just see, you know, them interact with like my son, like talking to Bruce Springsteen. You know, awesome. He's talking about it. Oh, you know, things like that have been like really cool. My son actually, because he's been literally playing his entire life.
Okay.
His name, he goes by, and he'll probably, I don't know if he's changed it yet, but Jagger Finn, or no, J Finn. I'm sorry.
J Finn.
Yeah, the letter J and then Finn. That's his middle name.
Okay.
But you can check him out on SoundCloud and iTunes, and he's doing a lot right now. He's super talented. We have a studio in the house, and he would just go in there all day and night and work. I'm like, you better be doing something in there. And then all of a sudden, it's like he's gotten label offers. And,
oh wow!
Very cool.
What kind of music is it?
I don't even know what genre you call it. And he's also working with a guy named Roy Blair, who does really well. He's been playing drums for him here and there, and they've toured all over. And that guy's super talented too. But it's kind of like he does all the instruments and singing himself, and he just chops a lot of stuff. Occasionally he'll put a beat down, you know, and chop that up. But a lot of stuff he just uses off like old records or just, you know, and he'll take that and tweak it. But it's kind of like almost like jazz, R&B, trip hop, weird. I don't even know.
Okay.
I'm way too old to even have a clue about it. But yeah, check him out. He's great.
All right.
And Roy,
sure. Yeah. Now, Dave, awesome. You know, when you've had, and you're one of the very few people I can ask this question to, but when you've had an album or a release that is that massive as 10, which, you know, we were talking about it earlier, it's the biggest selling grunge album that was ever released. You know, and that's, you know, that's a big statement when you consider Nevermind from Nirvana and, you know, Bad Motorfinger and Super Unknown, and, you know, to have the biggest one that there ever has been. How do you motivate yourself now? I mean, you haven't just climbed the mountain, you bought the mountain, you know, you owned the mountain, and now you start over, you know, a few guys in a room with just some ideas. And while the ideas are fresh, you know where you're trying to get to, and you know how unbelievably hard it is to get there. How do you motivate yourself to keep going and to keep pushing?
Excellent question. I can only attest that to just, I love playing so much, you know what I mean? Like I love playing the drums. I love playing with other people. I love playing the drums, and I'll do it here in my house, you know, for a period of time. But it's just, and that's fun in itself, but just to play with other people, because I just always, like, you know, when there was a party, it's like me and my friends would set up and jam at it. And that's how I would interact with people. You know what I mean? Like that's pretty much the best I can do. That's what I can bring to the table. It's like, I just want to be a part of the band that's playing at the, you know,
right,
playing for entertainment. So yeah, just a extreme love. And we all have that, Sons of Silver. That's like, you know, anybody could be doing all kinds of anything else really, seriously, except me. But just so like talented in other areas of life, you know what I mean? So that always shows me too, like to be hauling our gear in and out of clubs, you know, schlepping around the country, Europe, you know, we've been all over the place. It's just a love for music, you know, and you just keep like banging it out and putting in hours. That's what I was saying, like all the hard work we've been doing over like 5 years. Like, I just thought about it the other day. It's like, man, we've been hard at this for a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just starting to get things like cracking like that is it's so exciting. But and the thing is, like, we're in the studio, you know, and it's 3 hours in, and Pete's got an interview or something like that, and he comes back in, and we get back to work. And we're not even thinking about, oh yeah, that's like people are digging this tune, you know, or people are like in the music. Or we're just like love creating, so we're just in there like hashing out ideas. Like that's kind of like, you know, it seems like it's unattainable to try and even reach for, you know, success like that. So it's just strictly love of music, and then like whatever comes of it, you know what I mean?
Right. And it's so ironic that you've been a band for 5 years, and yet everybody that you talk to is like this brand new band, Sons of Silver.
Yeah, it's really cool because in a lot of ways, you know, we really are, because you know, I mean, Pete really had a great idea of like building this thing slowly, making it a band, and then really kind of honing our craft before we really like put ourselves out there, you know what I mean? As far as like, check us out, come and see us, like, this is what we got. And it was, I think, really very smart on his part to just kind of like, and we weren't thinking of it, you know, while we were working, we were just, you know, doing what we love to do. But then you look back and it's like, yeah, it's been a slow progression, but in a really good way, I think. Because a lot of times people just like right out the gate, you know, show all their cards, and it's either, you know, you got a freaking full house, or you got to fold the whole thing and leave the table.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been nice to be able to kind of do it the opposite way, really. Not think about that, but just make music and see how it goes.
So, Dave, I mean, obviously, you know, I know you appreciate your past history so much, and it's very celebratory and everything. But I'm sure with Sons of Silver, and not just you, obviously with Adam and Kevin as well. Are you looking forward to sort of getting away from being tagged as Pearl Jam and Candlebox and Skillet? I mean, obviously the past band, the band names that you've been involved with, you know, being members of these great bands, it gives you instant credibility with the fans, but it is such a different band in terms of you guys' sound. So it's like, how do you plan? I would say plan, but like, are you looking forward to people now knowing you as Dave Krusen from Sons of Silver, not Dave Krusen from Pearl Jam 30 years ago?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Yeah, because sometimes that can overshadow, you know, the whole thing you're doing in the present time. And I've had that experience too. But yeah, this is like, I think it's just, we're not using that. We're not trying to like use it at all, any of our past stuff. It's very much like, this is a new band, you know what I mean? There's some new music, check it out. And when I put stuff on Facebook or whatever, you know, people are like, I didn't even know you had a new band. What, you know, what is this? This is awesome. What is this? You know? And so that's really cool, because we definitely have put the music ahead of any. In fact, Pete's like, if he's doing anything, he's kind of downplaying it, which is really cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But very like, this is about Sons of Silver. No one individually, you know what I mean? It's a band. And the other good thing I think it's really cool is, like you were saying, like late 70s, early 80s, like we have kind of like, it's like Adam put it really well. He's talking about like, you know, you're mining for gold and you like get all this stuff, you know, and you're like, and then it's like you get one little nugget, you're like, yeah, that's it, you know, that's the one, and you like polish it up. And that's what we've been doing work-wise. And so that really has been like, you know, it's such a kind of a different sound, I think. You know, Candlebox is known as a grunge band, great band. and I love that band. I'm super proud of the work we've done for sure. But you know, it's like a grunge Seattle band, and you know, I've done other bands from Seattle, and maybe it's slightly different genre, but back in that era, or you know what I mean.
Mhm.
So this is like kind of so far removed time wise. It's so much later, 30 years down the road. And I think musically, we're doing something so completely different than anything I've done before. Even if you hear like, oh, this person from this band, and this person, you know, from that band, and you listen to the music, you don't even think that really. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so like, oh, okay, that's on paper and I can read it and I see that, that's cool and everything. But when you hear it, what you're taking in is like so removed that that's what you focus on is the music and not the, you know, prior stuff everybody's done.
Sure. And obviously with this, you know, pandemic going on, I mean, it's not slowing you guys down. I saw you guys released a track and video for the Quarantine in California song, which is a cool, nice little blues song you guys did. So, I mean, nothing's kind of stopping you guys right now from seizing the current moment and the momentum from Doomsday Noises. So I guess the only other way to keep that momentum going right now is really to continue and release and write more music, since you can't tour, unfortunately, at this point. So right now, what do you see is next for the band? I mean, are you guys just going to continue to write and just wait for things to open up and then just take it from there?
I think, I mean, we're kind of talking about it right now as far as like ideas for getting out to play. Like some radio stations, like maybe we can come and do some kind of socially distant thing with you guys, you know what I mean? Get a few people to come out and live stream it, you know what I mean? So we could do kind of a blend of, you know, there's people here. People are talking about drive-in concerts. I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
So we're really right now, in the whole industry is obviously like kind of trying to think outside the box as far as like what can we do to get out and be connect with people somehow, you know what I mean, some way. So that's one of the things. Like one of the things was like a radio tour, you know, probably outside little gigs and live stream it. You know what I mean? But we're also going to try and do some live streaming stuff from his studio, which I think will be really cool. Like get a bunch of cameras, really like, you know, put it together nice and have it done well. I think it'd be pretty cool.
Sure.
Yeah, I did see it. Yeah, I saw a live stream you guys did just the other day. I think it was for something. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, you guys were just kind of in the studio, so stuff like that. Pretty much, you're probably going to continue to do. Okay.
Yeah, and then also, I mean, we could possibly rent a sound stage, like go to a rehearsal space, set up on a stage, and do more of a performance that way.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
No doubt. Well, Dave, as you move forward, and you know, obviously, it is a very tough time to really make a plan to move forward. If let's just say, you know, worst case scenario comes true, and you know, from what we're seeing, that bands may not be able to actually get out there and actually tour until 2022. Now they're talking about. How long? I guess the question is, how long will you guys wait before launching it, before saying, okay, this record is what it is, and we're not going to be able to push it as hard as we want. So let's just focus fully on 10, 12 new songs so that we have something ready for when the world opens its doors once again.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we're doing right now in a way, because we don't have we have an EP that's done. I think they've got a little bit left to do in mixing and stuff like that, but it's pretty much done. 5 songs, I think.
Okay.
4 or 5 songs. Anyway, that's kind of ready pretty much to go. So we'll be able to release that like we did this last batch of stuff, which would be cool. And then right now, yeah, that's what we're doing currently is like just recording, trying to get like a lot of good songs. So we're like a bunch of ideas flowing. And we're also thinking like, which is cool for this next batch of stuff, instead of doing, because we've had some really good, concise, like, you know, like 3-minute songs that are very like kind of like more in your face. Some of them are on the mellow side, but for the new stuff that we're working on right now, we're kind of like, man, we could do like you know, just like, you know, like in the 70s when they'd have like, you know, a song would be like 2 songs, like
Right.
Boston, it was like, you know what I mean? Van Halen do that, like tons of bands, Pink Floyd. And so now we're kind of thinking that way, like, man, we could do a whole LP instead of an EP,
right?
And maybe do vinyl and have it be just kind of like a concept album, or just like not even consider the length of the songs, and you know what I mean, and just like really open up, get some freedom going that way.
So the reality is the EP is really just a toe in the water, so to speak.
In a way, yeah. We've kind of like done a little batch, you know what I mean? Like, what are they, you know, like, yeah, just a small batch,
right?
Songs. But yeah, so now we're really kind of like, let's not have any rules. Let's not think, you know, in terms of a quick like release thing, and just kind of take our time, see how it develops.
Very cool. Well, Dave, Sons of Silver is out now with Doomsday Noises. Matt and I are both huge fans of it, as you can probably figure out that we had you and Peter on, you know, 3 times in about 5 weeks. We are definitely big fans of what you're doing. So
we appreciate it. Seriously. Thanks, guys.
Why don't we do this to wrap up? Why don't you give out the plugs, tell people where they should go to find you or to find the band online. And then we'll you know, maybe we'll wrap it up by playing the video for Read 'em Their Rights.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, our website, Sons of Silver, and it might be Sons of Silver Band. You might have to put all that in there. I can't remember what the latest is, but yeah, you can just Google Sons of Silver Band, put it in the search engine, and your favorite search engine, and find us that way. I'm on Instagram. I think it's David Krusen, the new one. The old one got all hacked or whatever. And then Facebook, I think just my name at Facebook, I'm on there. And I think we have a Facebook page. I know we have an Instagram page. And so we'll probably be posting stuff on there. Probably that's a good spot to look for just like quick update stuff too. You know what I mean? It's not going to be like on the website. It's a little more involved, I think. And then I have a website, davekrusen.com. So people can check that out. And they can email me if they want to, like, you know, ask me something or whatever.
Right. Nice. All right. Well, why don't we then we'll wrap it up here. Dave, it's great having you on, and let's check it out. This is Read 'em Their Rights. This is the Sons of Silver right here on Aftershocks.
Thanks for listening to Aftershocks. For more episodes, go to our website at www.aftershockspodcast.com. Visit us on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages for more news and information on the podcast. And be sure to subscribe, listen to, and review all episodes on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all other podcast platforms. For your music listening pleasure, visit our website or go to www.shockwavesradio.com. For all comments and questions, please email us at info@aftershockspodcast.com.